This is the 2021 Mercedes GLE 63S Coupe. It has a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, 603 horsepower, and 627 pound-feet of torque. That's fed through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Actually, it's a multi-clutch transmission, but it works like an automatic. You can also paddle shift it. All-wheel drive is standard, and as you can see, compared to the GLE SUV, the roofline is cut. So in addition to the 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, the AMG has a 48-volt electrical system, which means in short bursts, called EQ boost, it can add up to 21 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. The only time you really feel that is when you have it in race mode, step on it flat from a stop sign. So it's an expensive egg-shaped car. It starts at $116,000. This one, as tested, is $131,000. That's 1,522-inch rims, 1,100 in the head-up display, which is useful, 2,000 in driver assistance package, which we do like. Those are all your safety features, your lane keeping, traffic assist, which all works very well on this car, and we'll show you in a minute. $1,650 on the energizing comfort package, so they can massage you with the seats, and they feed air with different scents to you to give you a mood. $1,100 in acoustic comfort package, which is increased cabin insulation, and $4,500 in the Burmester audio system, which again is great, but I don't know if we would spend that much just for an audio system. The GLE Coupe came out at the 2015 North American International Auto Show, but it didn't get this new Panamericana grille until the update, and it does look much better than the horizontal grille of the old one. Obviously, a bunch of new air intakes on the sides here. All of your radar control stuff is in here, and down here, your parking sensors, more intakes. Now, if you talk to car nerds, they'll tell you that coupe means cut, and that's where the term originally came from. And as you can see, the roof does look cut. But we know a coupe as 2 doors. Unfortunately, this is what Mercedes is calling it. So in the GLE SUV, you get 38.2 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats up and 80 with them folded down. In this coupe, you only get 23 cubic feet of cargo space, a little bit more than half, and 60 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats folded down. But let's see what that means. The depth is pretty good at 45 inches. And the width is also good at about 48 inches. The main problem here is the height of this part, which is only 17 inches. So if you have something cube-shaped, it's going to be tough to fit. But back here, you're back at 28 inches. So you do have room in this, and obviously with the seats folded down, you wouldn't have many problems. But if you're going with the coupe over the SUV, this is what you have to be concerned about. All right, now we're looking at the interior of the 2021 GLE AMG 63S Coupe. That's a lot of letters. Obviously, the centerpiece here is the MBUX twin 12.3-inch display, which is covered by one single piece of glass, so it looks great. This is a fake vent here. This is a real vent over here. But these guys, I'm not quite sold on. It kind of looks like an industrial ductwork factory. So this MBUX system can be controlled in a ton of ways. First is by touch, obviously, so you can swipe through all these things. Phone, navigation, media, all that stuff, your normal stuff. Comfort. AMG track pace, this is a cool one. Of course, use only on tracks and away from public traffic. Got it. There are no tracks in the vicinity. Thank you, Mercedes. So we switch on the ignition, right, for drag race. You do your telemetry for your G-forces and your lap times. Your drive modes can be selected through here. So you have your dial on the steering wheel here where you can select your drive modes. You can hear it get louder and quieter. Alright, so let's check out the track pace stuff here. Driving, going to select manual start. Set your telemetry, speed, I'm sure your G-forces are on there and all that stuff. You can also control it with this touchpad, which is not our favorite way to control things, but this one does have this hand rest right here, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to do while you're driving, although it's still easier just to touch it. Then obviously you can also control your volume and your other stuff from here, and your other safety features. Like I said, this thing is cool. Your drive mode selector here. It also has this bonus customizable drive mode stuff where you can put your exhaust or your transmission or your suspension and change it individually with these buttons here. Obviously everything looks really nice. Perforated steering wheel, leather, Burmester sound. Now we're in the back seat of the GLE, and as you can see at 5'10", I have plenty of legroom back here with the seat adjusted for a 5'10" person in front. There's also an armrest here with 2 cup holders if you want it, or you can fold it up and make it a 5th seat. I have my child seat in here. Normally I have 2, and they're easy enough to hook up with these pop-out ISOFIX latches. You also have your heat vents, USB-Cs, a regular plug, and some extra storage space back here. So a decent place to ride. All right, now we're gonna head out to one of my favorite stretches of highway in southeastern Michigan. We'll go into Sport Plus mode. I don't know if you can hear that, but I could. This stretch is nice because the speeds are high and there's some curves and some roundabouts, so you can really get a chance to check out how it feels when the suspension is weighted up. As a reminder, 4-liter twin-turbo V8 making 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque with a little bit of extra from the 48-volt electrical system. Shifts here. First roundabout. No traffic as usual. That's why it's so good. You know, there's not a ton of weight in the steering wheel, even in Sport Plus mode here, but it is quick enough. Lane change there. Around this right-hand sweeper. I like this spot because it's 20 minutes from my house. I can do a 20-minute run and then take 20 minutes back, and it's like I was only gone for an hour. All right, second roundabout coming up here. No traffic again, love it. I'm gonna go over the curb a little bit here. What's nerve-wracking about that is once a super heavy thing does start slipping, it slips quickly and far. But we're not going there today. All right, then we're gonna go full 180 around this roundabout. Yeah, I mean, it grips, obviously. All-wheel drive, so you're not worried about the back end stepping out. And even in the Sport Plus mode, the suspension is pretty soft. I do worry about those giant 22-inch low pro tires on potholes, but so far they've been good. I think they're 35 series, which is low, but not the lowest. You know, if you're going to get an AMG for sports car driving, there are plenty of them out there. This is obviously for the person who probably has a family, needs some space, needs a little bit of cargo room, but not too much. As we said, it's about 40% down from the SUV. You also have to have a lot of money, considering the base price is $116. This one has tested as $130 something. All right, another roundabout. Good. All right, let's go. It does sound, I was going to say better than most American cars. The German V8s are certainly on par with American V8s as far as sound goes. My Mustang isn't even that great. The Challenger does sound very good, the Hellcats, and the new Chevy, Camaro and Corvette both sound great as well. So, but this is definitely up there. Audi's V8 also sounds good, but it's kind of different. All right, so back around 180, back into the curves. brakes are, you know, not as stiff as I like them, but I'm sort of a glutton for punishment. I like super stiff brakes. They're very confidence inspiring when you touch the pedal and it only moves 2 inches instead of 6. There's obviously plenty of inches before the floor here, which is what we sometimes worry about, what I sometimes worry about. But I'm trying to think with the last M5, brakes were very stiff and good. Obviously the Mustang GT350, rock solid. You feel like you can just stomp on them with both feet and you'll always be safe. And you know, this is still a Mercedes, so maybe you want a little more softness in your suspension and your brakes. You don't want it to be a straight up race car. It does feel like the back end is going to go out first before the front end, which makes sense because though this is all-wheel drive, the torque is biased to the rear. And as far as comfort goes, you know, seats are good, have decent bolsters, a lot of adjustment for the front and the back of the bottom, which I like. I like to put the front of the seat bottom up so I kind of lean back so it's very cockpit, like a shell, like a racing shell. This steering wheel is actually better than I think the one that I last had on the E63S. It just has 2 kind of big wings on the flanks as opposed to 2 on each side with several buttons on each. This one's pretty easy to understand. A couple of touch pads to control each side of the gauge cluster. It does have a column shifter, which is getting rare these days, but it does free up room in where the gear shift would normally be, and simple, easy to understand. This one does just flick down and flick up as opposed to the old ones where you would like click, 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 where you click them down. Stability is good. Got my heads-up display stuff in front of me. Going back around, easy person. People in Michigan don't really understand roundabouts yet. So you do have to be careful. So there you go. We found out that the 2021 Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S Coupe is very fast. Its 4-liter V8 sounds like a NASCAR engine. It handles surprisingly well for its size, although we bet that it handles even better than the GLE SUV because of its lower center of gravity. Still, if it were our money, we couldn't give up on that space. We want that extra space. And also on a personal note, I don't think these slope roof lines look as good as the boxy SUVs do. Personally, I think the Cayenne Coupe, the Audi SQ8 both look great because their roof, although they are called coupes, the roof comes flat and then go down instead of swooping all the way down to the bottom. Not a fan of the X6 either in this case. So, we'll see you next time.